Peyton Manning said something interesting on Pat McAfee show, so it brought my attention to the title and how I think Tua is actually going to thrive in his second year in Mike McDaniel's offense. What is up, fans? Yeah, I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and Peyton Manning was on there. He was talking about how he thinks that Aaron Rodgers is going to do well because of his familiarity with Hackett and how he's not learning a new offense. And he said something we're going to listen to that I thought was incredibly interesting, and it made me think of the fact that Tua Tagovailoa, from jump in the NFL, never was comfortable in the system he was put in, and he has consistently had different offensive coordinators. So I want to talk about how I think in year two under Mike McDaniel, he's going to do better, right? Now, obviously, there's the other thing we're going to talk about, but I just want to give you some evidence, some facts, some backing up, you know how I do. And then I'm going to tell you guys about what I think. So we're going to listen to what Peyton Manning had to say real quick that I found very interesting. It's a little snippet. He was on the Pat McAfee show. You can go on their YouTube channel, watch the full 8-minute and 21-second clip. I got like a 90-second clip here I just want to listen to.
Eli enjoyed that. Look, I think the fact that Denver was very collaborative and understood that, right? And I think Elway understood that. Like, I'm telling you, the longer you play, the harder it is to unlearn your system, right? Brady, New England, right? Charlie Weiss, McDaniel's, O'Brien, it doesn't matter. Same system. Indianapolis with me, Tom Moore, same system, same language. You want to screw a young quarterback up? Change coordinators every year.
Three
right?
times.
Just completely screw them up. But, I mean, and so, you know, if you have the same system, it's hard to unlearn it. So, Aaron, the fact that he doesn't have to learn a new system, it's going to work. But Denver met me halfway. They said, Peyton, we'll put in the plays you want. You circle the plays you want. We're going to add some plays that we think will be good at this point in your career, which I appreciated, right, coming off an injury. So it was a collaborative hybrid offense, and I think that's the key. Being stubborn and hard-headed and saying, no. You know, these are the plays you got to learn. If you don't want to learn it, get out. It's not going to work.
So let's take what he said, right? First and foremost, he said, if you want to mess with a young quarterback, you put him in multiple systems or something like that. That's essentially what Tua had to deal with. He went from Alabama's offense to Gailey, which was tailored toward Fitzpatrick. Then they brought in, what was that, two? Was that when we brought in two offensive coordinators? No. They brought in another offensive coordinator. They brought in the Patriots guy, right? Fired him, then brought in two offensive coordinators. That didn't work. And then last year with Mike McDaniel, right? He talked about the fact that Tom Brady, right, when he went to Tampa, he had to learn a brand new system. And it messed with him, right? Because that's what he was talking about with Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers, how it should be a very quick process. And I have this quote here that I want you guys to see, right? He said, this is Tom Brady, midway through the year, I was still trying to figure out how to call plays. Brady said, I just read the plays off my wrist and tried to visualize what was going to happen. After so much time in one system, it was a crash course for Brady to learn a new track. It's learning a completely new language. You've spoken English for 20 years and someone goes, hey man, let's speak some Spanish. And you're like, that makes no sense to my brain. The pandemic complicated the effort for all the new teammates to get on the same page. It took a long time for people to get to know each other, much longer than normal. The last 6 weeks of the year, wow, we really started hitting our stride. We gained a lot of confidence in one another. It was really unique experience, and that I hope I never ever have to go through it again. But I think I made the best of it. So Tom Brady, a guy at that point, 20 years in the NFL, who, again, he was in one system for 20 years, right? Just rammed in his head, had a hard time getting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense going because it was a new offense and the pandemic didn't help due to the fact that he couldn't get on the field with his guys, right? So let's look at what Tua said that same year, right? Same year. He says, I wasn't comfortable calling plays, Tua said Wednesday. I think the guys that were there last year were phenomenal. I just didn't have the comfortability of checking plays, learning plays, doing that. I just rode with the play. Even if I knew it wasn't going to work, I was just going to try to make it work still. I didn't actually know the playbook necessarily really, really good. Again, this isn't him saying he didn't know the playbook, right? Because he would just say, I didn't know the playbook. Done. He says necessary really, really good. So he knew it, but in the same aspect that Tom Brady was struggling with his. Really good, and that's no one else's fault but my fault. That's what Tua does. He takes, his own, it takes him to, it's me. Our play calls were simple when I was in there. I didn't have alerts and checks where now I feel comfortable and I can maneuver my way through these things, right? This was 2021, right? They talked to him about 2020 and 2021. Now, again, you look at what he did against the Ravens, and that's year one in Mike McDaniel's playbook. Year one in Mike McDaniel's playbook. You look at what he did against the Ravens, where Mike McDaniel even said himself that he was having a hard time getting the plays out, and Tua was improvising, and Tua was calling the plays on the field and calling his own plays in the huddle, shows how much of a grasp he has on a playbook that is made for him, that is tailored for him, right? And some people use that as a stigma. Some people use that to knock his success this past season, right? One of the reasons people knocked his success was because of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but we all saw what happened when he wasn't in there. And the other thing was, well, it's the system that was put around him. But other quarterbacks don't get that success knocked, right? Prime example here. This is their rookie year coming in. This is Joe Burrow, right? And it sure doesn't hurt. We already knew Bengals coach would implement Burrow's favorite LSU plays into the playbook. Quarterback coach Dan Pitcher provided an update on that front, courtesy of The Athletic. We looked at LSU tape with him, and he was able to share his thoughts and what he was really liked and wanted to continue doing. He and Brian would talk about it and say we very easily can incorporate these because we already do similar things. Maybe these are new but worthwhile. These are a couple. These couple can go on the back burner. There's a natural process that takes place. So again, Joe Burrow, franchise quarterback, you're bringing him in. What do? Hey man, we're gonna sit down and look at LSU playbooks, tape, and you're gonna tell us your favorite plays, and we're gonna incorporate them in the playbook to make your transition from the college to the NFL as smooth as possible. We are going to give you your favorite plays to learn from. Tua Tagovailoa, on the other hand, pandemic, just like Tom Brady, you're going to learn Ryan Fitzpatrick's playbook. And just like Peyton Manning said, let's go back and listen to it. Just like Peyton Manning said, just listen to it.
Went off an injury, so it was a collaborative hybrid offense, and I think that's the key. Being stubborn and hard-headed and saying, no. These are the plays you got to learn. If you don't want to learn it, get out. It's not going to work. So,
right? That's what Tua had to deal with his rookie year. You're learning Fitz's playbook. We're not going to tailor to you. This is Fitzpatrick's team, his system. You're going to learn his playbook. And if you don't want to learn it, that's not our problem, right? Herbert. Justin Herbert. The goal this weekend for Herbert is to immerse himself in the playbook during virtual meetings with offensive coordinator Shane Steichen and quarterback coach Pep Hamilton. Reading it and doing it are different. I take pride in my preparation. This type of learning I feel comfortable with being able to pick up as much as I can, Herbert said. But here is what is incredibly interesting right here. Herbert said the concepts in the playbook are pretty similar to what he had at Oregon, where he passed for 10,541 yards and scored 108 total touchdowns in 4 seasons. But there are more formations and pass protection calls, as well as running plays called out of two-back set. Herbert said the concepts in the playbook are very similar to what he had at Oregon. So again, the Chargers take Herbert 6th overall, their franchise quarterback, and they implement and have a system that is similar to Oregon, where he put up ridiculous numbers. And what happened Justin Herbert's rookie year? He put up ridiculous numbers because Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow got their playbooks incorporated from their college. Tua Tagovailoa told to kick rocks, and like Peyton Manning said, you can't do that to a young guy, right? So what is the point of me bringing in all this evidence and bringing in all this facts? Tua, again, got the stigma of the reason he did so well was because the system that was put around him. But Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert don't have that stigma. Nobody says, well, the reason Justin Herbert broke records his rookie year and won Rookie of the Year was because he had the Oregon system and it made his life easier. No one says that, which is might be a big old reason why. No one talks about that. The other thing, and the other stigma that is with Tua, is that these guys were successful early on, right? And that Tua couldn't pick up on these things. And that Tua had multiple offenses. But you just heard what Peyton Manning said, right? You heard him literally break it down and talk about how you can't do that to these young guys, right? So now that Tua is familiar and going into his second year in the same offense, this is the whole point of this video, I think he's going to be very successful. I think he's going to continue to grow. I think he's going to continue to get better. Hopefully, he could take what he's learned and implement it, right? Because like we talked about in 2021, he was checked down Tua. He was afraid to push the ball down the field, whether it was Brian Flores saying to him, look, my defense is going to do it. Just don't make any stupid penalties and don't try to force things. Whereas now it seems like Mike McDaniel is letting him do his thing, right? That's the other thing. Mike McDaniel puts a whole playbook together and he puts a whole film breakdown together to show Tua. But that's a knock. But that's a knock, right? We put a 700 plays together for Tua. That's a knock. We looked at LSU tape with him, and we were able to share his thoughts about what he really liked and wanted to continue doing. No knock there. No knock there. But again, I digress because that's not the point. I'm getting off on a tangent. He's now in the second year. Now, my only knock on Tua is he can't stay healthy. And that's the only thing that worries me. And that's the only reason I didn't want to pick up his fifth-year option. Is because I don't know if he could stay healthy. I don't know if what he has done and the jiu-jitsu and the bulking up, because we all see it. He's bigger. Whether you think it's a dad bod, whether you think he's fat, whether you think whatever, he got bigger, he bulked up so he can take the impacts he's going to as an NFL quarterback. It is what it is. I'm actually happy he bulked up so he can take these hits, right? Ben Roethlisberger was a big boy, and he was able to play, right? But that's what still worries me. Can he take the hits? Is the concussions going to be a problem? All of those things still worry me, right? But his play on the field doesn't. He had 2 bad games. There's no denying he had 2 bad games. Chargers and 49ers game were horrible. And the second half of the Packers game, horrible. Cost the Dolphins the game. Packers didn't beat the Dolphins. Tua beat the Dolphins that game. So you had about 2.5 bad games. Because the first half of that game, beautiful. Beautiful game. I was like, there he is. He always bounces back. That's what Tua does. He always bounces back. So I'm not worried about his play on the field. I'm not. I think he's going to get comfortable in this offense. They're going to give him more to do. He's going to be able to audible even more than he already has. Like I said, that Ravens game, go back and listen to the press conference where Mike McDaniel's talking about Tua is audibling and doing things on his own because I couldn't get the plays out to him. All of that, fantastic. So him being in the second year, and you look at the Kyle Shanahan's offense. Matt Ryan's second year did better. You look at Jimmy Garoppolo got better in the offense. You look at all of these quarterbacks who have played in the offense for multiple years, they got better the longer they were in that offense. So I think Tua is going to consistently get better, right? Because that's how he has done his rookie, sophomore, third year, now into his fourth. He's going to continue to get better. The only thing that worries me is can he stay on the field? It was always something. Finger issue, ribs. His rookie year, he got banged up. He missed the Jets game. Second year, he broke his ribs. He got taken out. This past year, it was a concussion. He needs to play a full season. If he wants to shut up people, he needs to play a full season, because I honestly think, my personal opinion, he plays a full season, he's going to put up some ridiculous numbers, especially with the weapons he has, and especially finally in an offense that's tailored to him. It's taken him 3 years in the NFL to get an offense tailored to him, and to some that's a stigma, and to some that's a knock. Yet Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow got it as soon as they came into the NFL. They were successful, and people are like, see, why can't Tua do that? See what I'm talking about? Now, that's where I defend Tua, right? And that's where I get called a Tuanon, and I get called a cult member, and I get called names by people who hate Tua, right? Because I see the hypocrisy. I see the one-sidedness. I see Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert getting treated like a franchise quarterback, where I see Tua Tagovailoa forced to learn somebody else's playbook and all that stuff. And then finally he gets his playbook, and that's a problem. The only reason he was successful is because they put a system around him that he's comfortable with. Why is that a problem? No one said that about Justin Herbert. No one said that about Joe Burrow. No one said that about any quarterback in the NFL. But it's a problem with Tua. Right? Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Hayden Hurst, Austin Eckler. Those are some pretty good weapons. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. Those are some pretty good weapons. No one says nothing. No matter how much either of those guys lead and yak, and no matter how much these guys do really well in their system with their weapons, but Tua finally gets his system. Tua finally gets his weapons. Yeah, but. And that's where I come off sounding like a Tuaneer. Because if you can sit back and listen to somebody talk like that and not see the bias, the hypocrisy, and all that stuff, maybe you're on one side of the spectrum. I'm just a Dolphin fan that doesn't like seeing my quarterback getting hypocrisy left and right. Some guys get praised for things that Tua gets knocked for, and it's a little ridiculous. So I honestly think, like I said, what this video is about, even though I kept going off on tangents because I kept finding more information, kept finding more facts, and everything I'm bringing to you isn't my opinion. I give you my opinion afterwards. But Joe Burrow getting his playbook, Justin Herbert getting his playbook, Tom Brady struggling, and what Peyton Manning had to say are all facts. They're all words out of people's mouths of what happened. And they didn't make any of that up. Joe Burrow got LSU playbook. Justin Herbert got an Oregon playbook. Tom Brady struggled just like Tua did. And Peyton Manning even was saying, you can't be messing with a quarterback by changing the offensive coordinator 3 times. He wasn't talking about Tua, but you know what I'm saying? Comment below. I know I'm going to get 2 different ends. I know I'm going to get people who really don't like Tua chiming in and coming up with stuff and calling me names. And I know I'm expecting it. I'm going to sit back. I know the people who are going to get all in their feelings instead of trying to take a step back and be objective and look at the whole situation and see Tua is going to do better in his second year. It's the only problem to me is his health. Can he stay on the field? That's what scares the crap out of me. Because I have a feeling he's going to be doing really well, and then all of a sudden he gets hurt, and I'm like, there it goes. Because he runs the offense really well. Why? Because it's his offense. Just like Herbert runs Chargers offense really well because it's his offense. Joe Burrow runs Bengals offense really well because it's his offense. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next one. It's going to be a good one. But like usual, stay classy. My friends up.